Good morning, everyone. This is Mrs. Martinez here with your morning meeting for Wednesday, April 15th, 2020. Today, when I woke up, and actually yesterday too, it was a little cold. I was used to this sunny, hot weather, and when I woke up and it started being cold, it made me pull out my sweaters and my blankets and my fuzzy socks. So, wherever you are, I hope that you are enjoying the weather. I hope that you are having a good week. I love doing these morning meetings just because it gets me started on the right track with the positive thinking and just getting myself ready for the day and for the rest of my week. So I hope that you get the same thing out of these morning meetings just as much as I do. So let's go ahead and my quote of the day that I picked is the beautiful thing about learning is nobody can take it away from you by B.B. King. I immediately really liked this quote because if you think about it, when you learn something, it's not something physical that you learn. That is something kept in your brain, and no one can take that away and say, nope, you're not going to learn that anymore. That's something that is great about learning is that it's a gift that you give to yourself. Sometimes it can be hard to remember things that you learned or to get good at something you learned, but the best thing is to keep learning and to keep trying. And this quote also made me think of all the scholars who are at home and all the adults at home too that are learning online and reading books at home and just staying at home due to what's going on. But if you are learning still at home, you are giving yourself a gift that can never be taken away. So that's awesome. That's the beautiful thing about it. So if you're still learning at home, keep up the great work. You're giving yourself gifts that you're going to thank yourself later for. So keep up the great work. Kind of connects to your learning and what you're doing right now. And we're actually going to talk a little bit about the brain. So it's not really an activity today, but it's just something that I want you to think about when you're learning and as you're growing and how your brain is growing. So we have a picture of our brain, and you can see three little brains and the different parts of the brain. So we have the prefrontal cortex, we have the amygdala, and we have the hippocampus. Now, I'm not going to talk about all of the parts and details right now. You can read them. I'm going to talk about a few of them. And hopefully next Wednesday I can get to the other parts that I didn't talk about and just how we can help develop your brain. Now, right next to the hippocampus, there's a little stem. It's where the start of the brain is, and that's called your brain stem. So your brain stem is in charge of the basics. It regulates your heart rate, your breathing, your motion, just the basics of survival. And that's your brainstem, which usually develops when you're very, very, very young, almost a baby. That's the first thing that's going to develop. Now, we're going to talk about the amygdala, which he is the brain that kind of looks like he's angry and he's ready to fight somebody. So it says the amygdala helps keep us safe. It is where all of our emotions come from. But sometimes, if we have strong emotions, it keeps us from thinking clearly. So the amygdala is in charge of our emotions. And the way that I like to think about it is it's our alarm system also. When something happens, say we're stressed or we're scared or we're put in a harmful situation, our amygdala is going to take over and send messages to our brain like, hey, something's going on, we need to do something. In that moment, your amygdala is taking charge and it's calling the shots. But that can be a bad thing because, as we all know, sometimes our emotions can get the best of us, and sometimes we don't make the best decisions when we are so high in our emotions, meaning when we're really angry, when we're really upset, when we're really sad, we're not thinking straight. Now, when the amygdala is making all the choices, the prefrontal cortex, which is the brain with the glasses on, he is in charge of helping us make good choices, pay attention, and learn. So really, our prefrontal cortex, which is in the front of our brain, that's the part of the brain that needs to be making the decisions. But sometimes our amygdala can get overstimulated and call the shots. So, what does that mean for us? Well, let's think about going back to learning. When you're learning something and you're getting really stressed because, man, it is so hard, I don't get it, I'm just so frustrated. Your amygdala is like, what my emotions are going, I'm going to call the shots. And then your prefrontal cortex is saying, well, I can't pay attention and learn because the amygdala is so worked up. He's so upset right now. So, one thing that I want to talk about today is to help calm your amygdala and to help get that prefrontal cortex working again. So, one thing that I want to tell you, don't